Hey guys, Omni here. We got some crazy news that was announced today thanks to THR regarding Tom Holland's upcoming Spider-Man 3. And this information combined with what we already know about the film, I think we're definitely lending a lot more credence to the fact that we're probably going to be getting a live-action Spider-Verse storyline in this upcoming movie. So not only do we know that Jamie Foxx is coming back reprising his role from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 as Electro for the film, we know that Doctor Strange also has a pivotal part. And we know he's in WandaVision, which that storyline, which we're going to be reacting to here on the channel. So if you want to be there for that, I recommend you subscribe because I'm going to be reacting to each one of those episodes as they come out. And that starts in January. So I'm really hyped up to see what's going to be happening with this show, because this show, I think, is going to be setting the stage for the direction that the MCU is going to be going in from here. Because as we know, whatever happens with the Scarlet Witch and her powers in this is going to cause some kind of shift or rift in the multiverse, or even create it. We don't know. And we're going to be seeing Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch try to pick up those pieces, or maybe one of them's picking up the pieces while the other one is continuously tearing them apart. Because we also know that in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Wanda is also coming along for that journey. She is in that film as well. So we're seeing these two be very pivotal in the shape of what the MCU is going to look like from this point onward. And then, of course, Doctor Strange making an appearance here. And this isn't the first thing that has kind of lent some kind of credence to what's been said here about this. Because I know there's been a lot of talks, there had been a previous pitch to Sony about bringing back Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire previously, before the animated Spider-Verse took off and blew up. They really shot it down. And I think they're really kind of shooting themselves in the foot with that. But I think we're going to be leading right into that with some of the information we got. So, like I said, not only do we have Jamie Foxx coming back from reprising his role, if not as that very same Electro, but this can go a couple of different directions, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But J.K. Simmons has reprised his role as J. Jonah Jameson, as we saw at the end of Far From Home. And, that could, again, be like, oh, well, he's so iconic in that role, we just had to recast him. Or we'll get into some theories here in a minute. But today, THR, The Hollywood Reporter, has confirmed after some set photos leaked showing Spider-Man 2's Alfred Molina, who played Doc Ock in the Tobey Maguire films, on set. And after those videos went out, they officially confirmed his involvement in the film. He's returning as Doc Ock. Now, there's some ways that we can spin this. We are just getting into this Spider-Man universe. We are just really seeing Spider-Man grow and evolve and expand into and coming into his own. He's still kind of climbing out of that shadow of Tony Stark, and that's been a big criticism of the previous two films, is he's really kind of felt like like an Iron Man Jr. So most of his villains also having ties to Tony Stark directly. And now maybe we'll start to see how he creates his own villains, or his own villains start to show up in this. And again, whether or not it ties into WandaVision, whatever she does when she alters and warps reality, two things I think could be coming out of this. A reason why we're seeing these characters coming back, these actors coming back in these roles. Because we do know that Jamie Foxx at least said that he's not going to be blue this time around. So it's not going to be exactly his Amazing Spider-Man 2 counterpart. It could be a different spin on it. So my two trains of thought with this are going to be, either we are indeed opening up the multiverse and these characters are crossing over. This literally is Alfred Molina's Doc Ock from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man universe. And this is Jamie Foxx's Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man being ported into the MCU from those other timelines, which through that could also bring their respective Spider-Man to help avert this crisis. Bringing in Tobey Maguire, bringing in Andrew Garfield. Now, to further add to this, there was also a now deleted video that was posted to Sony's Latin America channel earlier this week that has now been taken down, but it opened with an introduction to the three Spider-Men, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland, and it had the line, "Who is your favorite Spider-Man? You don't have to choose. In the Marvel Universe, anything can happen." That video has now been taken down. And now if you want to take it even farther back, a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago, Jamie Foxx had even posted some fan art showing Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man all together with a caption which I couldn't find, but that has also been deleted. They're definitely hiding something. They're definitely trying their best to keep this under wraps. But I think all evidence points to the fact that we're going to be getting all the live action Spider-Man that we've had up to this point for this film, thanks to whatever witchcraft comes out of WandaVision, opening the doors, opening the walls, and breaking them down, the walls of reality, to allow this to happen in the first place. The alternative to this could be like a Flashpoint situation where whatever happens in WandaVision doesn't just open the doors to the multiverse, but changes things. She makes alterations to the timeline, makes alterations to reality. Much like in Flashpoint, where Barry Allen goes back in time to save his mother, creates a whole different future for him, which he eventually has to reset back as he tries to set things back to the way they were before, because not allowing that to happen created an alternate future which was just devastating to the world. So he tries to set things back in place exactly how they were, but the fact that you meddled with it to begin with, you can never set it back. Much like breaking a mug, breaking anything that's made of glass, you can get all the pieces back together, but they're never going to quite fit right. So much like this, whatever happens in these three movies, or the show and two movies, is going to somehow shatter reality. And when we kind of try to put the pieces back together, things are slightly different. And that would also allow the MCU to kind of do like a greatest hits of some things that worked from the previous movies that maybe didn't work before, or some things that they think just needed to come back into because they were just so memorable, they just can't see anybody else in those roles. Much like Alfred Molina, much like J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, and then also allowing a heavy hitter actor like Jamie Foxx to come in and do a different version of Electro. That could be what we're seeing. But in that same situation, that would not allow for a Tobey Maguire or a Andrew Garfield to come in there for that theory. But I think with the way those really trying to delete these posts, delete these videos, and what we know of one villain from the Tobey Maguire world reprising the role, one villain from the Andrew Garfield storyline coming in, reprising the role, I think the evidence goes to show we're getting some semblance of a multiverse and not just some like reality warping. I think that we're not just reusing some actors just to reuse them. I think they're doing this intentionally. And there's a reason for that. And there's also a reason that they're hiding these things. But I also don't want to get my hopes up too high if we don't see Andrew Garfield or if we don't see Tobey Maguire come back, because it could very well be just that we warped reality and they add some things from some storylines that they're no longer following up on, like the Tobey Maguire films or the Andrew Garfield films, but there's some things that they wanted to keep. So they're just bringing them and injecting them into the current timeline that they have with Spider-Man, with Tom Holland, with the MCU, with their growing Spider-Man film library with Morbius, with Venom 2 and Craven and all the stuff that they're wanting to do, but maybe there's just some aspects of those films they wanted to keep around, or in Jamie Foxx's case, give him another try to do things a better way with a new team, a new creative director, just see what they can do with that. I don't know. Honestly, I'm mixed on it, because as much as I really wanted Spider-Man 3 to be the one where Tom Holland finally got to grow and be his own Spider-Man, I am kind of concerned that everything we're hearing is going to bog down his storyline and his growth. Because what I was really looking forward to originally, before all of this was announced, was a Spidey on the Run storyline where he finally has to leave behind all of his lingering attachments to Iron Man, to the MCU, and to really have to think and thrive and strive and survive all on his own. And now it just seems like we're not going to get that. And I was really looking forward to that and seeing Tom Holland and his Peter Parker grow and stand on their own 2 feet. But on the other side of that, I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. I would love to see all these things come together and just see these 3 Spider-Man team up and fight villains from their own respective timelines. And maybe we'd even get a Sinister Six in some shape by combining 6 villains from each of their own worlds, and having them all try to take out these 3 Spider-Men. In addition to the Alfred Molina story, Collider also put out a puzzling article that I saw that was also commentating on the fact that Sony wanted to reveal that Alfred Molina will be reprising his role as Doc Ock in this upcoming film, and about how revealing too many of these story pieces kind of ruins the enjoyment of the film. And they go on to, in this whole other tangent, completely disconnected from this kind of argument they're making about revealing too much about a movie. And then they start talking about how they also are claiming that Andrew Garfield and Kirsten Dunst have already confirmed that they're returning, though I cannot find this cited anywhere else, as well as Tobey Maguire being in current talks and has not closed on a deal yet to return in this movie. And they also go on to assume that Emma Stone is also coming back. Again, take that with a grain of salt, because I'm not seeing that anywhere else. I'm already seeing some of the other side outlets starting to run with this story as well. I wouldn't be surprised with what we have been hearing, but this article in particular, it just seems a little strange to me in the way that it's structured and worded on giving it too much credence. The Alfred Molina thing has been confirmed, at least through their sources, through their information. That is happening. There's set videos of it. He's in the movie. But this other stuff with Andrew Garfield, Kirsten Dunst, Tobey Maguire, and Emma Stone, I would take all that with a grain of salt until we learn more. But all of this said, I think it's time to pass it off to you guys. I want to know what you all think about this news. I want to know your theories, your speculations. How do you want this to go? How do you feel about this announcement? Sound off in the comments. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next time. Take care, everybody.